This might not seem like much of a scary story, but from my perspective, it was still quite wild. For context, I'm a 22-year-old black man who has always been a film nerd. Like any romantic, I longed for someone with whom I could truly be myself. During my senior year of high school in 2018 to 2019, I finally thought I found her. Let's call her Maria. We met in 7th period science class. My best and only friend at the time, Jackson, was talking to her, and soon the three of us were chatting regularly. When Jackson had to switch classes, Maria and I were left to each other. She was a Hispanic fan of Tim Burton, wore mostly black, and loved horses. We clicked and started texting, eventually going on a movie date. One day I joined her at a local horse ranch and in a moment of boldness kissed her on the cheek before leaving. Soon after, we decided to make our relationship official. I was overjoyed to finally have a girlfriend, especially being a shy, anxious guy with Asperger's. Things were going well until I started working on getting my driver's license. Due to my disability, it took me longer than most. I wanted to drive because my mom, who worked hard at UPS, often had to drive me places when she needed to be resting. Maria, however, saw this as selfish. Anything that didn't directly benefit her became a problem. She was also jealous because her parents had taken her license away for some insurance issue. The situation worsened when I had to leave our only class together early to practice driving. She painted me as inconsiderate. One day after a driving session, I surprised her by returning to class, but she went cold on me. When I proudly announced passing my driver's test on Facebook, she got nasty with me instead of celebrating. Our relationship became strained, filled with arguments over trivial things. She was upset that I got a car, and even when I let her drive once, she drove very slowly and cautiously. I started working part-time at the local IMSA through a program, and Maria had a problem with me being too busy to text her. She even acted like the people at the Y had wronged her. She got mad over simple things like my mom getting me into the John Wick films before the third one came out. Maria almost ruined the movie experience with her cynicism. When I decided to see Toy Story 4 alone, she flipped out on me. She drained my money, opposed me looking for a job, and kept me on a texting schedule from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. If I didn't message her within 5 minutes, she would get upset. Simple errands for my mom ticked her off, and she labeled me as spoiled. My mom, a very observant woman, concluded that Maria wasn't used to random acts of kindness because her own mother didn't show much love or care. Despite the toxic relationship, I didn't break up with Maria immediately because of my low self-esteem and desire to make it work. I wanted to be affectionate and believed I could calm her down. Maria often told me about nightmares of me breaking up with her, making it harder for me to end things. In early 2020, Maria got a chance to trial for the Marines but didn't pass. Her behavior didn't improve and we argued more. In the summer, I finally told her I needed a break. She shrugged it off and asked when the break would be over, but I didn't know. Eventually, she said she was glad we broke up. We texted a bit and I learned she was chatting with an older guy online. Despite being relieved to be free from her, I felt bad for her. She didn't seem to have much support from her family. In August, I met my online best friend and former girlfriend, Sarah. She gave me the love and encouragement I lacked during my time with Maria. Sarah helped me work part-time at UPS, which was great pay for me. I took Taekwondo classes and slimmed down significantly. While still shy and anxious, I'm taking baby steps to improve my social skills and try new things. Though Sarah and I don't talk as often now, I'm grateful for her support. Jackson later told me that Maria had eloped with her online lover and had a kid. This news surprised me as she had always said she didn't want kids, which I liked about her. I hope having a child has helped her mature because it's long overdue. The events took place during the summer of 2020, right when the pandemic hit. We were supposed to be freshmen in high school, but school let out early due to the virus. My friends and I, being teenagers, decided to spend a few $100s on illegal fireworks from the nearby reservation. We couldn't wait until the 4th of July, so we planned to light them off one night after my parents went to bed. We grabbed some fireworks and headed to a nearby park around midnight. We started with smaller fireworks, then lit a keg which shoots multiple shots into the air. One of my friends heard someone yelling at us, but we dismissed it. Soon after, a man started coming toward us, and we ran, dropping the fireworks. We ran to the other side of the park and crossed the street with houses. A car passed us, then suddenly stopped and started chasing us. We ran and hid behind some bushes. The man in the car screamed that he was going to get us, sounding crazy. The car eventually drove off, and we slowly made our way back to my parents' house, scared but safe. While not the scariest story, the man's tone and persistence were terrifying. We continued to sneak out after that, but I always stayed more cautious. As a new physician during the pandemic, I had a harrowing experience in December 2021. Normally, I worked with regular patients, but I was drafted to help in the ICU. One patient, a 60-year-old woman, had been intubated for 2 weeks due to severe lung damage from COVID. She was on ketamine, a sedating medication that doesn't affect blood pressure but can cause dissociative reactions. After 2 weeks, we lowered her sedation to see if she could breathe on her own. Suddenly, I heard a strange muffled sound. I turned around to see her sitting up in bed, screaming into her ventilatory tube. Her eyes were bloodshot, and she looked like she was crying. Blood leaked from her mouth due to the trauma of screaming. We rushed to get our protective equipment and entered her room. She had pulled out her ventilatory tube and was pleading with us, saying she didn't want to be there, that it hurt, and that she wanted to go back. We sedated her and reinserted the tube, but she died a few hours later. We didn't fully explain the situation to her family, only that she had caused damage by removing the tube. This experience left me wondering where our consciousness lies when sedated. While death is permanent and merciful, the hells we create are far worse. This patient's suffering was a stark reminder of that.